I'm Teacher Helvi, your Grade 5 Social Studies teacher. Welcome to our second Social Studies e-learning lesson. Our topic for today is map reading skills. Before we start with our lesson for today, let us look at the answers to the previous activity. It was on page 39 in your Platinum Social Studies Grade 5 textbook, activity 3.9. Question 1. Compare the following sentences. You are supposed to fill in the missing words of A and B. A slave is a person who is treated like a property of a person. So the missing word is property. B. Taking slaves from Africa happened between the years of 1500 and 1900. So the highlighted words are the answers. Question 2. Use the pictures and text on page 38 and 39 to help you answer the following questions. A. Why did the African chiefs sell slaves? So you are supposed to look at the pictures and the text on page 38 and 39. Because they got money and goods such as guns and clothes from the slave traders. B. Why did Dutch traders bring slaves to Africa? To work as servants and farm workers. C. Why did plantation owners like to buy African slaves as workers? Plantations were huge and there were no machines for planting and harvesting. Plantation owners wanted strong people from Africa who they did not have to pay for their work. Remember, the slaves were regarded as a property, so they didn't need to pay for their own properties. Okay, so let us start with locating Southern Africa on the African map. Africa is a continent with many countries, but we are just only going to look at the Southern African countries, which are 15 African countries. Of Southern African countries that we are going to look at, we have Angola, Botswana, Democratic Republic of Congo, Lesotho, Madagascar, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Namibia, Seychelles, South Africa, Swaziland, Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. So all these 15 countries, you have to know where they are and where they are located in the map. You have to know their place. You have to know that South Africa is the bottom of Africa, and Namibia, you can find it where, and you don't need to include countries which are not part of Southern African countries. For example, don't include Uganda in, don't include Kenya in, or Congo, Brazzaville, and all those things. Only include the colored ones. You can also find this map in your book, and you have to learn and locate those countries and where they are situated on the Southern African map. Okay, let's move on. What is a map scale? A map scale is a word or picture that explains how the distances on a map represent real distances. It shows how distances on the map match the real distance on the ground. On the ground means real life. So when you are drawing the size of the place in your map, you don't use the real distance, or you don't use the real measurements that it's supposed to be on the ground in real life. So you have to reduce the size of the object so that it can be able to fit in your paper or in your book. Different sizes, different scales. In order to fit a map of a large area on a page, we reduce the real measurements of the area. Maps of different sizes have different scales. Let's look at the two maps on the next slide. You can also find this picture in your books. The map A and map B, they are showing the same place. But map A, the size is more reduced, and the one of map B, the size is less reduced. So the map A is showing more details. Why? It's because their size is more reduced than the one of map B. So if you want to fit more information in your map, you have to reduce the size of the object, the size of the real object. For example, you can see that in map B, there is no shops. There are not two shops. They are only a part of the clinic. In school is only part of it which is in. Field also only part of the field which is in. But map A is showing all the full details. Okay, now we have three types of map scales. We have word scales, line scales or linear scales, and ratio scales. Okay, so in our next lesson, we are going to discuss more details about those three different types of scales. Let us look at the activity 1.1 on page 3 in your Platinum Social Studies for Grade 5 textbook. Look at the world map on page 2 in your textbook. Question 1, name the 7 continents. Question 2, name the 4 oceans. Question 3 and 4, you are not supposed to do it because you are supposed to locate and point. Question 5, but you can be able to do it in your own. Question 5, which ocean is on the west coast of Southern Africa? Again, you have to look in the world map and find out which ocean is on the western coast of Southern Africa. Question 6, which ocean is on the east coast of Southern Africa? 7, which continent is west of Southern Africa? You have to check which continent is on the western side of Southern Africa. Question 8, which continent is east of Southern Africa? Again, you have to look at the African continent and then you have to see and find out which continent is on the eastern side of Southern Africa. We have come to the end of today's lessons. Answer to this activity will be provided in our next lesson. Remember to keep safe, wash your hands and avoid